step. He got his feet wet. Did some good things. Had a good summer, but it's definitely time for him to take the next step and be a consistent player in this league. Got the ability, there's no doubt.
Morris was hired. I think a lot of people were surprised. It might have been the first day, but very early on, he talked about how the tight ends and second most position on the offense. Then people started looking at him, what happened to SMU?
Right.
And he said, well, we didn't have any.
Right.
So he was glad to be somewhere where he had them. But you're an old school guy. I mean, I sit here and listen to you talking. You sound like you don't have any, and then you do, but you're pretty hard on these guys.
Well, I can be. Yeah, I can be hard on them. And it's good to have to hear a different perspective, of the guys that with Joe and with Coach Morris and the guys that are all the guys on offense for when they came in here to see, and I think acknowledge that we certainly had, accrued a pretty good group of guys that we've got a few guys that could probably go to a lot of different places across the country, and I'm not saying they would be starters, but contribute and be guys that people would like to have. We need to take the next step at that group from a maturity, consistency type step to where we're just could be more counted on a day in and day out basis. We have times where we show that, but just throughout the game, from play 1 to play 80 or whatever, throughout practice during Monday through Friday, I just want to see our guys take that next step of consistency. And if we do, it'll show up on game day, and that talent that's there will be able to be cut loose and to really help our football team.
Again, he mentioned the different roles. In other words, tight ends aren't just blockers and receivers. There's a lot of things. Deception, you might get into the backfield as a running back, all the different things they do.
Right.
Can you address that, how that's gone so far in terms of them being able to do all of those different things?
Well, I think some of that's probably coming more than it did in the spring, just because we were just trying to be very, I don't know if generic's the word, but just baseline introduction of, tempo and understanding how to play fast and learning the formations and the offensive structures. I think once we get into game planning, some of that will come to fruition a little bit more, but I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it on film. I've seen it. We've talked about it. We've got it on install, some of those creative ways to get those guys involved, but just inherently the way that this structure of this offense is set up, there's some really nice ways to get the tight end the ball down the field in the intermediate game, in the quick game, and I think you'll see early on that not only is that talk, that we'll be putting that in action when it comes to time when games come around.
Cheyenne's come along. Those that we've seen him, he's come a long ways, but Coach Morris is in there talking about putting the hammer down on him even more.
Right. Well, it's because much is given, much is required, so to speak. I mean, he's got a wealth of ability as a ball catcher and has come a mile he has come such a long ways as a run blocker during his time here, and it's just his time to just take that next step forward. There's always a few players each year that you identify to say, man, we need you to take the next step from a maturity, consistency, production standpoint. And he's going to have a lot of opportunity to do that, and it's certainly time for him to take that step, something we've talked at length about, and he showed some really good signs of that in the spring.
Jeremy Patton, there's that first year out of junior college, and you expect so much more the next year, but he showed some things last year. But obviously you want him to really come a long way this year.
Well, I honestly, in a lot of ways, I was surprised about how much we got out of him last year for how short of a period of time he was here. I mean, that's tough now. I mean, when you show up in July and you got 3 weeks to get acclimated and learn an offense, and then its season starts, I mean, he wasn't perfect by any means, and it really, through the course of the year, he really did some pretty good things. And one thing I liked about him more than anything is that when he had an opportunity to make a play last year in the passing game, he made it, and that's a good quality. And that's really how he got his opportunity during fall camp. He sees that. So I say all that to say this, is what he is now compared to what his last year is night and day. This is really, truly his first offseason that he's ever gone through. And he looks like a different guy. He's in great shape. His strength levels has come along. Got really good testing numbers. Really excited about where he's at and the type of year he's going to have.
These guys in summer respects, more like wide receivers. I mean, that's what he wants them to be. I mean, he already talked about a lot of things they have to do, but nothing gets a tight end more excited than when you start talking about he's more like a receiver in an offense.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, that warms a guy's heart when they get to split out wide and motion in, and they're on wheel routes and four verts, and it's not just sitting in there blocking power all day, And so I think our guys have really, really taken a liking to what we're doing, not just the tempo part of it, but also just the way that they're kind of the central hub about what we do. I mean, we just are, and so you're going to see our guys used in a lot of different ways this year, and the more we take advantage of that, and the more you'll see it.
Barry, you've been a mainstay here at Arkansas, playing here and coaching here. What's different from your perspective about Chad Morris and what he brings?
Well, obviously a lot of energy. He reminds me of Coach Nutt in a lot of ways. The way, the energy that he brings on a consistent basis. It's as a former high school coach myself, and obviously the son of a longtime one. I've told Coach this, and I mean this with the utmost respect and compliment. It's been interesting because in a lot of ways that we have a very high school type blueprint here for what we're doing, and I mean that in a lot of ways. I mean, like we're just very thorough. The way we communicate with our players and their families, the expectations, the culture. We're being intentional about developing culture, which is really good, And that's, I think a lot of programs have culture, but man, we're just so intentional about defining it, laying it out, laying the expectations out. Our players have responded very well to that, and so that's one thing. Energy reminds me of Houston. The way we've got this structured is just really, you can tell why he's been successful. I mean, obviously you don't get to this point without being successful, but he cut his teeth as a head high school coach, and you see a lot of those qualities that made him successful have translated very well to being a head coach obviously at SMU and at this level, and so. That's not really answering your question about what's different. We're being much more aggressive in recruiting. Recruiting's changed in the last 8 to 10 years. And I think not only are we doing a good job of getting caught up to the way it is now, but we're very forward in our thinking. It's really incredible behind the scenes, his vision for the things he has just in our building and recruiting. And he's a very forward thinker, and I think that's a really good thing. And listen, sometimes different is good, sometimes different isn't good, but a lot of the things that we're doing in a recruiting standpoint has been just really good. I mean, really good. And I don't mean, just so you guys know, I'm not saying that some of the things we're doing aren't good. I'm just saying just because it's different doesn't make it good. It's good and it's good and different. Does that make sense? I mean, it's only is it different, it's good, and it's what we need. And we have to be aggressive in recruiting. We've had bukus of kids come on campus this spring, and we've had multiple opportunities for them to get here, and that's a good thing, and so I think it's really propelled us in recruiting.
This season will be a success if.
Well, I mean that's a good one. I know that's why you're asking it. You had a good time to drive up here and think about that one, didn't you, on the way up here? That's the advantage of being not too local. Yeah, you have to drive up and think of good questions. That's a good one. Obviously we need to get back to postseason play. That's an important thing. Whatever that looks like, we want it to be a great bowl. We need to get to postseason play, but the formula for us is real simple. We want to win our home games. We want to win the trophy games. We want to win that Southwest Classic. That's a huge deal, as you guys know. That's kind of been a momentum breaker for us the last 4 years. Hopefully we're past due on that. We want to win the Southwest Classic. We want to win the boot. We want to win the Battle Line Trophy. If we do those things, then we're going to get to a good spot in postseason play. And if we can get to a good spot in postseason play, it's going to propel recruiting even further. And so, to me, that would be a success. Obviously, you win all those trophy games, you're going to have a successful season.
Coach Morris,
Yeah.
Success in SMU. This is the SEC. This offensive staff is a young staff. There's 3 guys, I think, that each have just 3 years' experience.
Right.
As position coaches on the college level. And another one was 6. You're the only one with SEC experience. You're like the old man over there.
That's right. It's flipped in a hurry. The script has flipped, so to speak, in a short period of time. Well, it's been really good. It's been really good. I think we've got great staff chemistry offensively. We get along well. We got good football coaches, aggressive recruiters, and obviously it's been something that they've leaned on me to a large degree. Just a lot of questions, a lot of things about, hey, what to expect, and I think that would probably only going to increase as we get going into this league. Now, football's football, okay? Football is football. There's only so many coverages and fronts and types of deals. And so these guys know football, and it's just going to be a getting to know the opponent, the stadiums and those types of things that you can't really do until you experience it. But I'll just say this: it's just been really good, and they got obviously a lot of energy. They know they know this system in and out. They really do. Being with Dustin and with Justin and with Joe, being with Coach Morris for so long, I mean, they know exactly the ins and outs of this system. They know the answers. They know the challenges, and it's been really impressive to see them install that with the confidence and the familiarity.
Chad had mentioned Grayson